Good morning, Karen Judd Smith here. So this morning, what I just wanted to go over really briefly, when you first wake up, what is it? Because you opened your eyes? Here. So this morning, what I just wanted to go over. There we go. We're live. Okay. You first open your eyes, or do you first hear something? What of your senses are active? What's the first thing you experience when you awaken? So there's perceptions, and those perceptions and the way we interpret those perceptions are, frankly, grounded in your mindset. Your mindset influences how you perceive, how you interpret events and situations and interactions. That's even just later on in the day. But the first thing that happens to you as your sensory input becomes, stirs your cognitive brain. It's powerfully influencing. Now, your mindset is made up of, it's almost like a filter for your whole system. Our bodies pick up heat, cold, light, dark, rough, smooth, sweet, sour, whatever it is. And the way we think about these things, the way we have experienced these things, and the meaning or the experience of that in the past shapes how we interpret those experiences, and adding to that our attitudes and our beliefs. All of these things come together and have in the past shaped our mindset and our view of the world. There are other things that also shape our mindset and view of the world, and some of those things we can trace down to not just our childhood experiences, but even our propensities, our innate propensities as to how we interpret the world. Some people are going to be good old AML, Eeyores, others are going to be ruse. Some are going to be more thinking about things as exciting and challenging. Others will see it as threatening and fearful. Our relationships will have shaped how we experience and think about things, and that mindset that has built up over time for each of us in our lives. It's both a consequence of our experiences, and it shapes our experiences. Now, there are other ways to mold our mindset, and that's part of the disciplines of life, part of the way we, the kinds of books perhaps that we read, or the videos that we watch, whatever it might be. We are then influenced by these things as we think about what we see and hear and taste and touch and whatever, and how we experience them as good or bad, not necessarily in and of themselves, but how we filter those experiences and read them. Our interpretation system that we have evolved over time is both something that is the filter, and it is the shaping and changing and affecting of the filter. So that sounds an awful lot like kind of these AI algorithms. And AI algorithms, in a way, just gives us a more practical, pragmatic way to understand how the dynamics of our lives are impacting us, shaping us, and then how we also read and interpret our lives and experiences. Anyway, just very, very quickly, I just wanted to go over some of these things that our mindset, our worldview, how immensely important it is in our everyday life, because it shapes how you perceive and interpret the world around you. Our current mindset influences our thoughts, what we want to read more of, what we pull away from. It influences our emotions. And now don't forget that our emotions actually are what drives and allow us to make decisions. And our behavior, ultimately, these decisions are the things that we make and that then determine the actions that we take. So here are just a few more reasons, just really, really quickly before I close out, a few more reasons why mindset and worldview is significant in everyday life. And then perhaps in another session, then very quickly, we will look at some of the ways in which we can begin to, in a practical way, intentionally influence our mindsets. But these things that are significant in our everyday life, that's our perception and interpretation of so many of the things that we experience, how we interpret events, situations, interactions. It's the lens through which we view reality. And it's the lens through which you view your reality. It impacts your understanding and judgments. Different mindsets can lead to vastly different interpretations, and that's why we end up with this 2 people, 3 people, 20 people looking and watching the same event and coming away with different interpretations of that event. Our attitudes and belief. Mindsets shape attitudes and belief about yourself, about others, about your experiences. It influences your self-confidence and your optimism, your resilience, your openness to new ideas. A positive mindset, negative mindset, put it in very, very simplistic terms, but that often doesn't give us the full sense of value of how much of an impact just making something good and bad is very limiting. And so even there, building out our language around what we are seeing, what we're hearing, what we are experiencing. But that's for another day. Decision making, mindset influences decisions. You make your mindset shapes priorities, values, goals. It can affect your risk tolerance, your problem-solving approaches, your willingness to embrace change or face challenges or run away from them. Different mindsets lead to different decision-making styles and outcomes. So then there's relationships and interactions. Mindset impacts how you engage with others and form relationships. And there's layers to this idea of mindset. There's the big, broad brushstrokes of how we approach things. But then there's also how we approach specific situations or specific individuals, our mindset around specific individuals and situations. And that then not only influences our thinking about those in general, but as we enter into those moments of actual engagement in those specific situations with a person in the workplace, in a public space, whatever it might be, our mindset affects the choices that we take, the decisions we make, and therefore the outcomes. So as you can see, our mindset powerfully influences our relationships and our interactions. Have you ever been in a family where you build up an attitudes towards one another? And so then you see or expect, and sometimes in family situations, we end up getting triggered by one another because that's the way we've always experienced this person or that person. And it's not just family. It's in your intimate relationships. It's in your workplace relationships. We build up expectations and we draw pictures and tell ourselves stories constantly through our internal chatter. And that mindset impacts how we engage with others through our relationships. And sometimes in those moments, we tend to be interacting more with our thinking about the person rather than the actual person and their endeavors to their actual engagement with us. Mindset can be powerful, and how strong a mindset, how powerfully we hold on to these beliefs and attitudes towards others in our relationships and interactions can be powerful to the experience we have of others. So mindset can both hinder and help effective communication. And there's no set rule in any set situation, but there are ways that we can better understand and learn to better manage our mindset in relationship to others. And so, of course, that then affects our well-being and our resiliency. Our mindset plays a significant role in our overall well-being and resilience. Again, we can come back to generalize. The more positive mindset can contribute to greater emotional well-being, stress management, and coping mechanisms. It can also foster a great sense of gratitude, purpose, and meaning in life. So many ways these things affect us. So understanding that mindset, a worldview that we hold, that we have, that we didn't even realize we were constructing, can powerfully influence even what we think we hear or feel or see or touch, and therefore what we decide to do and how we relate. So then the question, if we understand that this is so powerful, is so important, is so intimately influencing every moment of our days, do we have any control over that mindset? How do we change it if we feel like perhaps we've had some experiences that are not as helpful to us as we would like them to be? How do we deal with them? How do we change those things? Where do we go to? Where's the change button in this mindset that we have? That's something that we'll be looking at over time. And again, some of these things are just to sit and think and ponder, even just for a few moments in each day. And then to see, and I would have to say then the next question that comes from thinking about these things is, what is it that we can do to for our lives, what we would like to improve in our lives, make better, so that we don't feel like we're stuck where we are, we have no way out of our situations and circumstances. They're the things that make us angry, upset, frustrated, annoyed, etc. And hey, it just might be helpful to have some simple tools and ways to look differently at who we are and what we're doing, not so that we'll wave a magic wand and become a different person in 5 seconds, as much as we would like that kind of thing sometimes, but that we can work on things, work on ourselves. We can have ways that we not only make effort, but we see the difference that it makes, and that we don't have to wait forever to begin to see and notice and even be able to assess the difference that it's made in our lives, so that then we can course correct. Our lives are not going to be perfect. I don't know what that means. Perhaps you do, but that we can nevertheless continue to shift them towards a direction that is perhaps something more along the lines of what we're aspiring towards and hoping for. So just some thoughts. See you again at the next, we'll perhaps have another one of these. All that, look forward to seeing you. Some of these morning moments, Karen Judd Smith here, just pondering, just thinking, just trying to get some, finding a way to communicate some of the essential components of transilient theory, which just might have some useful bits and pieces for how you live your life and the satisfaction that you can get from your life.